You are now listening to Femme podcast with Tessa Markle and Carolina Alvarez. Femme.
Hey, Femme. Welcome to episode 2. We have an awesome guest today, and I think this is a really inspiring episode, and I think it's a very, it shows like how important it is to be a go-getter and to just do it, like just do the work.
Just do it.
Just jump in. And, that's how you meet people, and that's how you build your community and build yourself up as a filmmaker, as an actor, as whatever it is you're doing in this crazy business. And our guest today is Brittney Bertier. She began as an actor. That's still her first love, but she's also a filmmaker now as well. And one of the founding members of BlackMagic Collective, which is a filmmaker collective that, like, I'm not going to go into detail because we do in the episode, but guys, the things that they provide, the resources, the community, and it's all free. That is so hard to find. My mind is blown, like, seriously.
Yes. So as always, we're so passionate about providing you, fam, resources that can help better your career, connection, community. That's what we're about. Fam. We are here. We are so excited that Brittney is just a lovely human, can all resonate with our own personal stories, and is bringing a free community service, BlackMagic Collective, that provides that for free. And they, like Tessa said, we're going to go into details, but just to have it at the top of the episode, go to blackmagiccollective.com and subscribe to their monthly newsletter for free events, and you'll see all the other stuff that they're providing, but it's wild. And yeah, we hope you guys, as always, stay inspired and take away something special from this episode.
And with that, enjoy. All right. Welcome back, fam. You guys have heard our first episode with just Carolina and I talking about our film, but we are so excited to bring you our first guest of this season. And we have a great lineup of guests all season. Really excited to share with you guys. So Brittney, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you so much for having me. This is a joy.
Yes.
Yeah. Shout out first guestie.
Yes.
Yes, I didn't know that. I'm honored.
Well, welcome.
Welcome.
We just, listeners, before we started recording, learned that Brittney was based in LA for almost 10 years and now lives in New York. And we were chatting a little bit about, the differences between LA and New York, because I'm always curious, filmmakers, actors, anybody in the business, that has lived in one and moved to the other. What do you miss about one? What do you love about one? What do you hate about the other? So give us the tea on that.
I was saying before that I lived in New York first when I was just out of college, and then I moved to LA. And I don't know what it was like for you guys. I know you're both based in LA, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I did not like it at first because I was so like New York minded and just comparing it. I grew up on the East Coast, but after a couple of years, I really fell in love with it. And I love the opportunity to create. I mean, what you guys are doing, I feel like that's at the heart of LA. Just the entrepreneurial filmmaking spirit. I love that. And you just are always running into creatives and coffee shops. And I mean, Tessa and I met catering. I feel like I met so many people in the business and made friends doing that. It almost feels like this, like a huge summer camp where everyone's there to try to do the same thing. And you meet people easily. And I don't know, I love that vibe about it. And then in New York, it's totally different because there are lots of different industries here. And I would say acting is much more heavily theater focused. So that's like a different type of actor, and you're not meeting as many behind the scenes people, I would say personally, but it's rich with writers. There's so many writers to meet. And that's cool.
That's cool.
And yeah, I feel more inspired to read here for some reason. So there's stuff like that. I don't know.
Yes, girl. Well, Brittney, would you consider, because as an indie filmmaker, you have a lot of hats, you're doing a lot of things. Would you consider acting your first love, what you are most passionate about? Tell us a little bit of all the hats you like to wear and where your focus is.
Yeah, definitely. I would say that you said it exactly right. That's definitely my focus. And my first love is acting. I went to school for music theater. And
Same.
so you did too? Yeah. Because I knew I liked you. Where did you go?
I went to AMDA, the American
Oh
Musical
my
Dramatic Arts Academy.
goodness. Yes. I
Fancy.
auditioned there. Yes. It's funny story. I auditioned there and my dad and I were at the audition, and afterwards they were saying like, God, I was like the laziest teenager. And they were like, you're going to live like a few blocks away or whatever. And you're going to walk here in the winter. And like,
Yeah.
I like leaned back and my dad leaned forward and we were like, no. And we just went and got lunch because he was like, I know she's not going to do this. So I wasn't ready for New York. So I hired you.
Girl, I was born ready.
I see that.
I was ready. I had to make the decision whether I wanted to do, quick tangent about me, of course.
Yeah, no, I want to know.
Whether I wanted to start my semester in the summer. So literally like the week after I graduate, which was like, okay.
Are you
or
kidding?
go do the fall semester in October and have like 4 months of summer vacation, which I was like, what the fuck am I going to do with myself? Like I like could not. So I was like, yep, I'm going. Peace out, everyone.
Wow.
And I ran those 10 blocks in my heels.
Yep. See,
trying not to be late.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was like literally booking it, and now I can't wear heels anymore. But at the time it was
yeah.
I was living. I was
You're
the best
a better
time of my
woman
year.
than me. It sounds amazing. I was just like, I don't want to. I was such a suburban girl, and I was not ready. So I ended up moving after college. I went to college for 4 years and then moved to New York. The Hart School at the University of Hartford in Connecticut.
I visited there as a potential. It was a potential. Hello. We were like, okay.
Yeah, I got very lucky getting in there because after, I think AMDA and Hart were the only auditions I had because I got mono and I missed all my other auditions.
Oh no.
But thank God I got in somewhere, and then moved to New York right after.
Okay. I mean, that just goes to show you too. It's like, you can go to school for it. You can start right away, or you can go to school for something else. Take your time to figure out what you want to do and, do it after. Like, it doesn't matter, whatever your path starts is fine.
It's so different for everybody. My director that I did a short film with him that I wrote a year ago, I think that was my most recent thing that I filmed. He was in marketing. He was like a marketing professional for like 10 years and then was like, I want to be a writer and a director and a filmmaker. And he's taking it so seriously and he's so involved. And I love that.
Yeah, exactly. It's always there. It's always, you can pick it up at any time. And everybody learns differently. You can go to school for it. You can learn on the job.
Yes.
You can learn from books and podcasts. Like, there's so many ways. Yeah. And especially with filmmaking too, I feel like no matter how you prepare, you're never going to really know until you're on set doing it too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, this is an interesting, because I kind of have a different, for filmmaking, I have a different thought about it versus musical theater and acting. Like,
okay. Yeah.
I kind of feel like if you want to do the acting thing, like there's some sort of schooling, because that's where you get to like really practice the art of it and get rehearsal. And it's what school was for me was just doing it over and over and over again and learning and like listening and becoming vulnerable, understanding what that even meant as like a young child who hasn't really gone through much life yet. You're like, I feel like I'm being vulnerable. What are you talking about? It's like, not deep enough. And you're
you
like,
haven't lived.
You haven't lived.
I totally understand. I mean, I always say that I needed school. I needed school to be able to work, or I don't think I would have really been able to kick it at all if I hadn't gone to school. But there are people who don't. It's different for everybody,
Yeah.
Megan Fahey from The White Lotus.
Yeah.
She grew up in a neighboring town to me, and she went from high school to Broadway to TV. I mean, and she learned on the go. I mean, everybody's different, but for me, I needed the training.
Yeah. And see, that's the other side. Like maybe some people just have it, like they can tap in and like the audition room is their classroom. Like that's the other thing.
have like a really strong like area, especially for music theater. If you have an amazing voice, if you're an amazing dancer, if you get one strong thing and then you learn the other things as you go, kind of thing, you know, or you get one lucky break and you learn as you go. For me, I just feel like I think I had like great instincts, but I needed to be polished.
Yeah.
You know?
No, and the other thing that they never really teach you in any sort of schooling is the business side of it. Like, I felt
that's
so
what Amda's
unprepared.
thing was. And I was like, no, we didn't. That was the whole thing. They were like, we teach you the business side of stuff. And I'm like,
did they?
But they did not.
They did not.
Heart didn't even pretend. Heart was like, we think you should have an iPhone. I was like, okay, cool.
Okay, cool. And this is the thing, like for musical theater, and this is where my next question to you, Brittney, goes, is like, yeah, musical theater wise, you learn the stuff, you learn how to audition. You do. Like they did an amazing job with that. But like also like life adulting, no, obviously that's whatever. But where was the switch for you to go to film? Because you know, I have my story of like how I like landed being like, no, that I'm not a musical theater kid through and through.
Like, how did you decide? Are you still doing theater as well too?
Yeah, I do. It's, you know, I'm in kind of an interesting place because the last year I actually had a baby. So I was pregnant for a long time, had a baby. Thank you.
Pregnant for a long time. Let's explain this, y'all. It's not 9, it's like 10 plus because
so long.
It's so long.
And your body is just like, you know, anyways. So I feel like I've been out of that sort of game for about a year, but I have been doing theater all the way up until now. But I guess I switched my focus sort of out of necessity. So I got my equity card when I was like 23. And then I didn't really have an agent in New York. And I just like kind of was struggling. Like I couldn't really get any theater work. And I started doing student films, stuff like that. And then I just like found my way out to LA. I have family nearby. I ended up being like, oh, I'll go on some auditions. And I got an agent and I got a pilot. And like, I was like, oh, this feels easier than like open calls in New York, you know? And I really didn't want to leave New York at the time, but filmmaking was so fun. So I started just focusing more on TV and like indie stuff, you know, like what you do in LA, web series, non-union commercials, startup, you know, advertisements and stuff like that. Yeah. And then over time, I just started, I was like, you know what? I don't want to leave LA until I do my own web series. I just want to know what that would feel like, you know? So I made some friends, we came up with an idea, we did it. And I was like, whoa, like this is so much more fun than speaking other people's words all the time. And I just fell in love with that feeling.
Yes, queen. That's will do it. That will do it.
There's no like, what do they intend? You're like, you know what it intends because you wrote it, you know?
Yeah. I feel like that's the journey for a lot of actors to make their own content is kind of, you know, we get sick of waiting around and we want to tell our stories and we want to play these roles that we want to play, you know? And it's a great way to do it. And in this day and age, you kind of have to make your own content because you know, obviously it's tough to book a job. Like that's just the reality of the business, but also it's like, it shows that you are really serious about it. And it helps to also show that you can do multiple things, wear multiple hats, you know, like being a multi-hyphenate is huge right now. So it's, you kind of, to get noticed, have to do something of your own these days. Yeah.
And it's so much more accessible these days with technology and, you know, stuff like that. Like what I said about LA, always just meeting other creatives. So-and-so's got this camera. So-and-so's got this lens. So-and-so's got this boom. And
I mean, Tessa and we were just shooting after we did our first big kind of short proof of concept kind of piece. We were just shooting on our iPhones and making shorts happen. And
that's awesome.
It was a huge jump to go from that to what we did for Sync, obviously.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit, okay, we're just like gonna dive in. Yeah, of course we're gonna dive in. Like, we're ready.
That's what we do.
It's what we did. Me and Tessa are just like, we're in. We're doing it.
I love that. No, but I love that. That's the attitude that you need.
Yeah, I think so. I really do think like you can prepare, like you should know, you know, kind of what goes into it, but like you do really have to just dive in. Yeah, I mean, I think diving in is like, it's a great attitude to have. Like, yes, prepare, yes, know what you're doing, but like I said earlier, you're never going to really know what you're doing till you get on set and do it. So just diving in with that attitude of like, fuck it, we'll figure it out.
I'm prepared as I
Yes.
can be. And like, I know my lines, I know, you
Right.
know, like,
I mean, do the
what
work,
we want
yes,
to
but
do the
yeah.
plan, but like dive in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is
And
what
I think
you're saying. Yeah.
as women, I don't know about you guys, but it's really few and far between that I get roles that I'm like excited to audition for. A lot of times it's like the woman next to the man and that kind of thing. So I feel like we have to write our own stories so that we can grow and experience different characters, because they're so few and far between out there sometimes. I mean, it's getting better, but you know.
Yeah,
No,
absolutely.
that's my second life story of like how I went from musical theater to film to then like being a filmmaker and versus an actor who's just auditioning. I don't audition.
Yeah.
I refuse. I won't do it.
Good for you. It is so the worst. It's the worst.
It is so
it just
the
makes you
worst.
question everything. Yeah.
Absolutely. But also as being like half Latina, I would be told that I should just be like super Latina, and that wasn't right. It's like a whole nother conversation of what is a Latin American woman in America. And then also like, but I would just go for I would get sent out for these roles that were just so like not me though. And then I'm like, I'm not going to get, for the color of my skin or whatever, I'm not going to get chosen, even though like I am technically half Latina, and like it just wasn't working. So I was sick of that and just being like, and then like just weird just roles that just didn't feel like me. So I think being able to write and tell your own stories, you can really just like, I feel like it's a better way of showing other producers, directors, what you're really made of and what really evokes your own character, the characters you could play. Talk to us a little about that. Like what roles have you really like felt resonated with you that you've written or been able to be a part of because of that? And actually, like, have you been able, because you produced your web series and stuff, felt like you were able to then show other producers and directors what you were made of? There was a lot of questions. I apologize.
I know, I'm breaking it down in my head.
Okay.
A lot of the stuff that I write with friends or on my own in the past has been comedy. And so comedy is like my favorite thing ever. And so it's sort of, I think it does showcase me. It helped me get my manager, who kind of gave me like a sort of like a pity interview because my cousin knew her and she was like, okay, fine. But I could show her something instead of like, I mean, obviously we do stuff we can show, but it showed, I think, that I was a go-getter
quality
and a specific quality. And so that was really helpful. And then most recently, I guess actually the last technical thing that I shot hasn't been released yet, but a girlfriend of mine and I wrote like a 4-part series where it's called The Truest Crime. And it follows like these idiots trying to figure out this murder mystery. And we play 2 different witnesses in each episode. And it's like, it's like very SNL. It's very stupid. And ridiculous.
That sounds hilarious. I love it. I love it.
Yeah. But I'm now with a new writing partner out here writing like my first serious, dark, like dramatic feature. And that's a totally different muscle. And so it's really fun, but we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I get to like tap into stuff that you don't get to do otherwise. And I really love that. What was the other question? There was another one.
From being able to, I know you kind of answered it. Yeah, with
did.
the comedy. Yeah, being able to get hired now because of that character and that specific comedy goes. There's also different kinds of comedy. So like, you know, it's really cool to hear those stories. I think most importantly, because sometimes we know how hard it is as well. It's hard to audition and it's also hard to do the filmmaker thing, writing and producing and all of that. Like both things are really hard. So it just depends on what is the path you want to take. And I think for me, the most empowering path was becoming a producer, writer, director, etc. Like being able to do all those things and like get really nitty gritty with it.
I think the beauty too of like having being surrounded by a filmmaking community and having those contacts in your network and everything is like, if you want to create your own thing, but like maybe writing specifically or directing isn't your strong point, like you have other people that you can collaborate with. So, you know, if you have an idea for a story, but you're not a writer, find a friend that's a writer, and then you can produce and star in it or whatever, like
Yes.
that collaboration is like, it's magic.
Like, I don't know a ton about lenses. I don't know a ton about film. I know what I like. I mean, filmmaking, like shooting, cinematography. I know what I like. I've like dabbled in photography. So I know like exposures and things, but I brought my friend Jeff on to do the short film Cage that I came up with. And I met him through BlackMagic Collective, which is a film collective based out of LA that I work for. And so he knows lenses and he knows how to set up shots in a different, and obviously we had a cinematographer too, but it was so helpful because he could fill in the areas that I lacked in. And then he also like added on like an ending, like an alternate sort of like punch up to the end of my short that he did not want to take credit for, but it totally upped the ante. And it's like, when you find those people that add so much, it's the best feeling. You're just like, it makes it better. Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. And that's what they're there for. They should be doing that for you. I think those are the best partnerships. It's like, we're both bringing something to table. It's not just my film. It's our film. It's like us creating and coming up with solutions and punching it up, like you said. So that is definitely something I feel like I fell in love with just acting. I would not be able to tap into that. And that's really, it's just magic.
Yeah.
I almost feel like acting is like a younger person's game. And then every actor ends up turning into a hyphenate in order to sort of take control of their life or their art and career. Yeah. In a way, everyone chooses some hyphenate.
Yeah. I totally agree. And like Tessa was saying earlier, it's just kind of the name of the game these days. Like, you kind of have to do that. And I just think it supplements a different part of the art that you get to be a part of. Because, hey, maybe I can't necessarily direct or act in this thing, but I get a chance to produce and then meet more people on that team that I can use later on too. Because again, that you're just always building when you get to do other parts of the job.
And it's such a collaborative effort, being an actor, being a filmmaker. And I think that the more you're just a part of it, it takes the focus off of you as the actor building their resume, the actor's performance. And it's more about the collaborative effort, about making something. And it shifts the perspective to what it should be about. Because no one can act really by themselves forever. Nobody can do sound by themselves. It takes other people. And that's what I missed during the pandemic so much. I missed working with other people and other artists.
Yeah.
Yes. Well said, Brittney. That's well said. I think that's why I was able to honestly like do the feature and do all those roles, because I didn't feel like it was just me in front of a camera the whole time. Like, we're all just here getting like in Video Village and this and that. It was a beautiful energy, and it wasn't just like, okay, I have to call this shot and I have to do like, we're all here. We're all trying to make this vision come to life. And it's just the best.
You've got an end goal. It's the best feeling. It's addictive. I would say it's like an addictive feeling.
Oh, for sure.
You just feel like no one's ever done this before. Like, this is the best. And like we all feel it. It's just like kind of magical. I love it.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of collaboration and magic, let's shift gears a little bit to talk about BlackMagic Collective and, what you guys are about and the opportunities that you provide.
We are a film collective based out of Los Angeles, although there are different chapters in different cities all over the country. We're funded by BlackMagic Design, and our main focus is creating free resources for filmmakers. It's all about indie filmmakers. We do in-person meetups. We did mostly in-person before the pandemic, and then now we've switched to a lot of virtual opportunities, different classes, different speakers. A lot of it happens on our live YouTube, so people can join and ask questions. We do different initiatives every year. So we have initiatives to help different filmmakers. We've done ones for up and coming female directors, like waiting for their first big job or their first feature. One with all BIPOC writers, one for disabled writers. I mean, they've done so many different initiatives, and I had the opportunity of taking part in one for actors. It was called the Emerging Actors Initiative, and it was so helpful. We had classes every week for like 10 weeks, and we just hone skills. I don't know. They're constantly just making opportunity. It's all free and they just make opportunities. And I've met so many amazing filmmakers through them.
That's amazing.
Okay.
Like to have that as a free resource because
Yeah.
so few things are free nowadays.
I know.
Like,
I'm always pushing at people. I'm like, it doesn't cost you anything. And they do a film festival, and it is the only film festival. My film with my director, Jeff Caged, got in last year, and we made money from it. Like they took the proceeds, like that everyone, it was a small amount to submit, and they gave them back to the filmmakers. I've never experienced that.
Wait.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they just
How have I
Venmoed
not
me.
heard of this? How have
I don't
not
know.
heard of this?
They just Venmoed me. They were like, hey, congratulations. So I was like,
that's amazing.
okay. Yeah, they're really
That's
wonderful people.
amazing.
Yeah.
How did you first get involved?
You know, one of those LA things. One of the founding members, I had done his web series for free in my 20s, like 2 or 3 seasons of it. We became good friends, and he works for BlackMagic Design and kind of facilitated the creating of the collective. And I was doing photography at the time, so they hired me to shoot some of their events. And then they were like, hey, do you want it? We need a social media manager. And I was like, sure. So I've been managing their social since 2020. And I love them. They do really good things for filmmakers. Yeah.
Yeah. It sounds like a really great community. And I mean, there's so many like quote unquote communities, but it's like there's a membership to get involved or whatever. And this is like, it's free, it's open, it provides opportunities. It is a genuine like community of like I love that it's called a collective and not just like company or whatever, because it really is like it's
a nonprofit
by the filmmakers. Yeah.
It's largely female run. My boss is a woman. Her assistant is a woman. There's me. It's large, like a lot of women behind the camera. And I would say its heart is in the right place. Like there's no ulterior motives, anything like that. And it's free to join.
Yeah.
Yeah. Free to join, free to do everything. I think it's $5 to submit your film. If you want to. Yeah. If you're a member, but that's it.
Fam, like normally it's like $40
at
the lowest. Like
at the lowest. Yeah.
At the lowest tier. So that is amazing. If someone was to go onto the website, what would they find? Like how user friendly is it? What kind of resources are just as accessible when you like log on? Like what are they seeing? Are they seeing a portal of, is there a roster of creatives that they can tap into? Is there any some way to connect on the website, or is it a great calendar? Things like that.
The best way to meet different people through it is on our Instagram, and then going to the events. Mm-hmm. But that's not a bad idea. But there's so many different people. Right. We like to highlight our initiative members. We just had like a producers lab where people were able to learn how to pitch their feature film. And then they were at the end of the 2 weeks, they pitched it to these big producers and stuff like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like it sounds like you actually get, even though it's a free resource, which is crazy, that you get actual industry professionals in the room with you, which is incredible.
Often. Yeah.
Okay.
And you'd be surprised. I honestly think that my boss just hits up the different people's PR. We've had like really prominent, everything from really prominent people to really awesome indie people. They get all sorts of people like to give back. I mean, people like to share their experience and stuff like that. So yeah, I would say I always try to highlight the new initiative members on the Instagram so you can follow them, you can connect with them if you want. And then going to the in-person networks is a great way too. But yeah, our website is mostly events, the initiatives, past events, our film festival, stuff like that.
Yeah. I was exploring the website right before this interview a little bit, like to remind myself of everything that was involved. And like, yeah, there's a lot on there. Like,
I know.
listeners, please explore it. Like, whether you're thinking, oh, I'm just going to submit to the festival, I don't like need to be a part of the whole thing, or you're really interested in getting involved, like, listeners, there's a lot on there. So please visit and explore.
Yeah. And like what they're doing right now, like just to give an example, you probably saw it, is there's this new series where every month you can ask an entertainment lawyer questions.
Oh, I
so
love
if
that.
you don't know, like something that's in a contract of yours, or you're writing up a contract, and all of us creatives, like that tends to not be the strong suit. You have free access to an entertainment lawyer to literally ask your exact questions.
That's so valuable.
I know. God. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, like, listeners, if you haven't ever gotten to that point where you've needed an entertainment lawyer, like Carolina and I had questions that we were like, we didn't need to hire a lawyer, but we just had questions for them. And even that session cost us, what was it, like $200 or something to talk to her? Like, you know, it's very expensive. It adds up very quickly. So that is such a valuable resource.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That is so amazing.
I know. It's one of those things that it's like, it's free. I wish more people knew about it. It's hard to get the word out there.
We're definitely here to help promote that. Give us any what's it called? Any like promo materials like after the show, like send it our way. We'll include it in this month's newsletter to the Femme Fam. We have a monthly newsletter that we love to shout out, especially free resources. Because as Tessa mentioned, everything always is coming at a price.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
We know how important it is. Like there are definitely things you want to invest in, but this is a game changer. It sounds like you can really get so much out of it. And I don't think a lot of people know about it. So I want to spread it to our LA fam, especially because you said that are these meetups specific to the LA community, or there's other like branches?
There are other branches. So it used to be very specific to LA, but ever since the pandemic, we still do in-person meetups, which are so valuable.
Oh my God. Yeah.
But I would say the majority are virtual. So like anybody in the country can tune in. And then there are different chapters in Atlanta, New York, you know, I think where were the other ones? Austin. But LA's like the main one. And then I feel like there are more. Everyone else just kind of like tunes in mostly virtually. And then there'll be like one networking event a year or something like that.
Yeah. And I want to mention for anyone that's listening that isn't like in LA or a big hub, but you're thinking of moving, like that's such a great way to get your foot in the door, you know, like start tuning into these virtual resources, it's still networking, you know, you're still connecting with people. And then if you do move to LA or another big hub, you've already got that. You've built that foundation, you know?
That's a really great point, Tessa, because I think a lot of people are like, how do I network with those filmmakers in LA? I want to get a job there and I want to do it. Well, find them and start building those relationships. And it sounds like this collective is a wonderful way to start planting those seeds and finding your people, finding your
people. Yeah.
Yes.
And one of the good things that's come out of everything sort of going virtual is that all of the sessions, all of the events are saved on our YouTube. So you can actually go back if you missed an event. Yeah. And you can kind of tune in and you can fast forward if it's going off on a tangent, whatever, you know, it's all there and it's free.
Yeah, that's amazing. Like, I'm literally blown away by like how much you guys offer for free, you know, because
my boss, Jen Page, is amazing. Yeah. She's an independent filmmaker and I don't even know how she has the time to come up with all of the different events and figuring it all out, but she does. She's incredible. A lot of these are her, like, ideas are her babies, and it's all her, like, making it happen.
And I want to
highlight Jen Page.
Yeah, shout out Jen Page.
That's amazing. Have her on the show next.
Yeah.
But I want to highlight what you had said before about like how you get these industry professionals involved and everything. And it's like, sometimes you just need to reach out and ask. Because that's like, for our show, we've had great guests that we were like, we don't know if they'll actually be interested on coming on our little show or whatever. You know, it can't ever hurt to ask. No. The worst someone is going to say is no. And that's fine. You know,
they had me do a job one year where for one of the initiatives was all women, I believe all directors. And they were like, Brittney, we just want to pay you a little extra this month to sit down and call all these big wigs and just see if you can get them any meetings. And I got people meetings, just like me, like cold calling all these huge
Isn't
agencies.
that awesome?
Yeah.
Isn't that awesome? That tells you, like, I think a lot of people are like, wow, how do these like big companies do that? It's just someone
calling
calling and doing it. So you could literally do this for your own stuff.
I know. It's crazy. I think that we all
awesome.
think, oh, no, there's like some other way to get in here. Like, I can't do that.
Mhm.
But there aren't really any rules. And sometimes you just have to go for it.
Yeah, exactly.
And chances are, like, no one's calling them because they're all thinking that.
Exactly.
And then, like you were saying, people want to give back. That's our thing. We want to give back. We want to be transparent and share anything that we've learned along the way. So
I mean, most of us all started in the same kind of place, you know. A lot of us were working restaurant jobs, catering, that sort of thing. And like, we went through the struggle, we all know. And so, you know, no matter what level you eventually get to, like, most people remember where they started and they want to help people and they want to give back.
Yeah, I like miss the catering days sometimes because I remember like different actors would tell me what books they were reading, what class they were in. I feel like I tapped into so many resources, even just, you know, at the banquet station.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. I'll be at work and, you know, I'll meet someone that's new to LA or new to acting or new to filmmaking, whatever. And they'll hear that I have this podcast and stuff and they're asking me advice. And I'm like, you know, you get that imposter syndrome. Like, well, I don't, like, you know, I'm not as successful, whatever, but yeah, like I have a lot to share. Absolutely.
Yes, you are, bitch. Yes, you are, bitch. Everyone's successful. Thank you so much. I just had to interject.
Totally.
It's like, you know, when you're starting out, like you're gonna need a survival job, you know, you're gonna support yourself, right? So why not do something that you can meet also other creatives if you're in a city that is full of creatives?
That's the other great thing about LA, because when I was a restaurant worker in New York, I mean, there were a couple actors and then everyone else did different things, but in LA it was like we were like 90% actors. So I feel like, you know, I don't know, we learned so much from each other and I got like my core group of girlfriends and I don't know, there's just something special about that. I think. It's a cool energy.
Absolutely. And I tell people too that are starting out, like, do some background work. Like you might hate it. I was not a big fan, but it's a great way to learn how it works, to see what it's like on set, to meet people. Like, it is a great way to start. It's definitely worth it.
Yeah, I agree.
And if you're not doing background, PA, same thing.
Yes, PA. Totally. You actually make great relationships doing PA work.
It's almost like, better.
I think it is better.
It is better.
So you can.
I was just being nice, but like it's better. Do that.
I only did one background job with like all of my girlfriends from college in New York. Like I think they shipped us out to Connecticut for like the One Life to Live remake of the pilot. I don't know. We danced for like 19 hours in the background. By the end, we were just like drunk with fatigue. Like I had injured my foot. My best friend, who's like a people pleaser, like a really nice woman, stepped on the director's foot and like didn't even care. She was like, like, and sometimes we like still watch it and like we had this game where we would take a shot every time we saw ourselves dancing in the background. And we're so tired by the end. We're like,
it's brutal. It's brutal. People don't know.
People don't know. It's like,
but that's why the show, we have some film enthusiasts and that's what they learn. It's a hard, brutal job, long day.
But it's worth going through it, whether you are on the PA side, whether you're on the background side, like whatever path you choose. Cause like I was background on an indie film, like maybe the first or second year I moved out here. And like, so it's indie. So I'm not getting paid. Like it's non-union, but because they were very like, they wanted this to be our movie, like even the background actors, you know, I ended up getting Taft-Hartley for it. They were like, hey, can you bring some more background on and we'll call you a Wrangler? Like they got, you know, that's how I got to be SAG eligible. So
that's amazing.
Yeah,
and also
that's amazing.
If you're new to the game and you just want to see what it's about, I mean,
go have fun.
Yeah.
This is
get some free chicken, you know, at some point. We all want that free chicken at some point when we're broke and, you know, just making it day by day.
Yes.
Girl. Oh, well, Brittney, thank you so much for chatting with us gals, kicking up the season. I think this was a really fun episode. You know, to get also back in the groove of things, just like hearing everyone's journey, and we have such a similar one. So that's really fun to kind of just share and highlight. And then this freaking collective, can you give a shout out to the IG for us? We're going to pimp it out on our website and everywhere, but just for you to highlight the website and IG and all of that.
The website is www.blackmagiccollective.com. Email, you can always email us. It's info@blackmagiccollective.com. And our Instagram is just BlackMagic Collective. We're the only one. If you just even search like Blackmagic Design, we're the second one that comes up.
Amazing.
So yeah.
And just because you said this before and I want to hear it again, like BlackMagic design is like, wow.
And we also have a big collaboration with Sigma lenses. So filmmakers can get like a discount and or free rentals on lenses. It's insane. Yeah. I just need
shut
all
up.
of LA.
Just shut up. Don't shut up. Don't shut up. No one shut it up.
All of LA to get in on this. Like,
I'll be your girl. We'll be your girl. We got you. We got you.
And I saw you guys are affiliated with Rain Dance too, right? I think I saw that on your list. Yeah. We're fans of them. We've worked with them. They've been on the show. Love
that's
them.
Great. Yeah. That's great. Out here in New York is where we're like most connected with them. Mm-hmm. So we actually have like a discount for filmmakers to submit to them that I'm posting for us this week. And we're always trying to like help promote other people, and like we would love to promote you guys. I would love to talk to you guys about that. We love female forward filmmakers, all of that. So yeah.
Amazing. Well, also before we end, if you want to share your own social media, like ways people can connect with you outside of BlackMagic as well.
Sure. Yeah. My Instagram is Brittney Bertier, and it's pretty much that. For TikTok, you can email me. It's brittneybertier@gmail.com. I do lots of dumb, weird character work on my socials.
Love it.
See what I'm about on there quite easily.
Yes. It's very fun, guys. I recommend checking out our Instagram.
Embarrassing, but if it makes you laugh, it's worth it.
Yeah.
Thank you, girls, so much for having me. This was honestly very fun.
Thank you. I feel like it was a very inspirational and like, like we're all just go-getters, like all three of us. That's how we work. That's who we are. So I think that's a great energy to have and to bring to the table and to encourage our listeners to have.
I can't wait to see your feature film and keep more like up to date with your podcast and just see more about what you guys are about. I think what you're doing is great, and keep it up.
Aww, thank you.
Thanks for listening to Femme Regard Podcast. If you like what you hear, tune in every Friday for more tips on the filmmaking business and insightful conversations with industry professionals. We can only grow with your support, so please subscribe, share, rate, and review. You can also join the Femme Fam on Patreon. For more on us, check us out at femregard.com.